Hello again, everyone. Edwin Lerner back once again in this YouTube astrological segment. I'm going to be talking about Saturn's square or opposition to the North Node in a natal chart. Now, some of you may remember when I first started my YouTube astrology channel, I did a series on the aspects of the natal chart. They were a little bit concise. Some people may have referred to them as snappy. So what I decided to do was make another series on them in which the videos would be a little bit longer and more descriptive. So anyway, first thing up is if you have Saturn square or opposite the North Node in a natal chart, there may be difficulty concentrating, which is Saturn, on matters pertaining to your future, which is the North Node. Now, if you have, say, the North Node in Aries as an example, that future may be tied in with the military, speech pathology, could be some kind of physical therapy or doing something with sports or carpentry, welding, arson investigation, law enforcement as some examples. And also, there may be difficulty in terms of working hard and laboriously, which is Saturn, on matters pertaining to your objectives, which is the North Node. Now, if the North Node is in Aquarius, as an example, those objectives may be tied in with altruistic, humanitarian endeavors. It may be doing something associated with astrology, astronomy, computers, electronics, innovation, meteorology, or aviation, as some examples. Now, another thing, too, is that Saturn, a square or opposite the North Node in a natal chart, may also manifest in having trouble in terms of balancing activities associated with the father, which is Saturn, and those that are prominent in your future, which is the North Node. One may conflict with the other often. And let's say, for example, if you have the North Node in Taurus, those people that are prominent or may figure prominently in your future, one or more of those people may be Taurus, Sun, or Ascendant, or simply embody the characteristics of the sign. It could be people that are very stolid and passive, persistent, patient, persevering, trustworthy, loyal, steadfast, money conscious, but at the same time can be stubborn, obstinate, and materialistic as well. Now, another thing about these aspects in the natal chart is that you may readily find, uh, or you may have, I should say, have difficulty finding consistency, which is Saturn, in the development of the positive attributes associated with the North Node position. If the North Node, say, is in Leo as an example, those positive attributes connected with that position, there may be ones that include being dignified, prideful, well, I don't know if to say prideful would be positive, but some other examples could be courageous, generous, magnanimous, confident, self-assured, uh, creative, as some examples. Charismatic could be another example. Now, also, too, these aspects can indicate having issues, um, or issues being serious, which is Saturn, regarding what you're learning and aspiring to be, which is the North Node. Now, if the North Node is in Virgo, as an example, what you're learning and aspiring to be can include being analytical, punctilious with details, organized, punctual, reliable, systematic, methodical, um, just simply being able to compartmentalize, as some examples, being able to diagnose. And another thing about these aspects is that chronic related issues, which is Saturn, if you have any at some point in time, may have more of an adverse effect on your future and destiny, which is the North Node, in most people. Now, let's say, if you have Saturn, in Sagittarius as an example, there may be chronic related issues connected with the liver, the thighs, the hips, the sciatic nerve, as some examples. Saturn in Capricorn may have chronic related issues associated with the knees, the bones, the joints, the hamstrings, the gallbladder, as another example. And also, too, a Saturn square or opposite the North Node in the natal chart may also manifest um, in having a certain difficulty handling responsibility, which is Saturn, toward those that may figure prominently in your future, which is the North Node. Now, if Saturn is in Libra, as an example, there may be certain responsibilities that are tied in with legal matters or things like negotiation or arbitration. As some examples, Saturn and Scorpio may have responsibilities associated with wills, estates, matters of support, whether it be moral, emotional, or monetary support. There may be things connected with recycling or work that involves refuse, as some examples. And also, too, um, older people, the father and authority figures, which is Saturn, may not be overly beneficial in the direction that you need to go, which is the North Node. Now, let's say the North Node is in Gemini as an example, the direction you may be going in your future. It may be tied in communication. It may simply be just connected with assimilating, disseminating information. Maybe doing something associated with manual dexterity, which can include auto or refrigeration mechanics. Um, if you have, let's say, the North Node as another example, say that it's in Pisces, the direction you may be going in may be tied in with altruism or sacrificing for others. It may have to do with work that involves the less fortunate, which can include the impoverished, the homeless, the oppressed, and the hungry, or doing something connected with the Pisces-related fields such as poetry, dancing, photography, anesthesiology, chemistry, spirituality, or the metaphysical, which includes astrology. Also, another way these aspects may manifest in the chart is that it may be troublesome. Finding the ambition, which is Saturn, for what you're moving toward, which is the North Node. Now, let's say, for example, if the North Node is in the zodiac sign Cancer, which you're moving toward, maybe doing something home or family related. It could be a Cancerian related field, whether that could be something connected with cooking, restaurant, culinary work, real estate, home renovation or remodeling, or working in some laundry or plumbing business, as some examples. And also, supervisors and superiors, which is Saturn, may not be favorable in that second half of your life, which is the North Node. It doesn't mean they're going to be working to your detriment necessarily, but they may not be as much assistance as you want them to be in terms of where you're going toward in that second half of life. So let's say if you have Saturn, let's say Aquarius as an example, one or more supervisors may actually be an Aquarius sun or ascendant or embody the traits of the sign. It could be those that are selfless, altruistic, considerate, unobtrusive, ingenious, eccentric, but at the same time may be overly rebellious, unpredictable, and non-conforming as well. And also, another way these aspects may be expressed in the natal chart is that mentors, which is Saturn, may not be propitious in terms of your mission and purpose, which is the North Node. Now, if the North Node, is in Aries as an example, your mission and purpose, maybe tied in with something associated with leadership or doing something pioneering or innovative, and maybe connected with speech pathology, physiology, sports, military, arson investigation, or law enforcement as some examples. Anyway, people, that'll conclude this YouTube astrological segment. Until next time, Edwin Leonard saying stay well.